Well, I don't know if you've been watching in our economy. Whatever you hear in the news, it's not going so good. In fact, did you know last April, because of inflation, you have to spend $460 more this month than you did a year ago to maintain the same standard of living. $460. That was a number that was not calculated by me. I read it in an article this week. Everywhere we're seeing the effects of our economy being systematically destroyed. And as it gets worse, you're going to see the government doing more extreme things to pretend like it's not happening. For example, you might have seen the Fed Now program that's being implemented for all of the banks because you need to have instant transferring of cash. How many of you just know that impulsive buying is dangerous? How many of you know instant gratification is a dangerous thing? And if you watch these videos, it's really funny. Well, we've done surveys, and 80% of people you need instant transfer. I'm just going, danger zone, danger zone, danger zone. And now it's going to be infiltrating all of the banking system. We'll give you more details on that another time. Or you look at the Federal Reserve System and how they were telling us back in September, we're not going to put in place a digital currency that's controllable and that will be able to decide where you spend money and where you don't spend money and how long your money will last. I mean, they're still posting things like this. Federal Reserve has made no decision as to whether to pursue or implement a central banking digital currency. Really? You've already got the beta test going on. We know that's coming this spring. On and on it goes. What ultimately is happening is the death of the middle class. There's your headstone. And it has huge implications. You say, oh, Mark, you're just making that up. Well, how many of you ever heard of the Pew Research Center? Well, here's a study they did showing 1971 versus 2021 and how many Americans were in the lower income, how many in middle income, and how many were in up. You'll notice the only thing that was grown is this one over here. And what I want you to notice in this is this middle range is going to decrease. What does that mean? You and I have lived under such blessing and prosperity. It's even hard for us to wrap our minds around this. What it means is that you can start out with nothing. When Jerry and I got married, I had saved $1,000. We had a Toyota four-wheel drive truck, like every good Christian should. And Jerry had her car, and she was working, I was working, and we were just getting married, and we were able to work it out, so we were able to buy our first house. And so we started with very little, but we were able to accumulate assets. Well, that opportunity is decreasing. Doesn't mean it's totally gone, but I can tell you right now, your kids are going to have to work harder and smarter than you did to be in the middle class. And you go to foreign countries, friends, I'm telling you, you can be very wealthy, and right outside your door is the other class, which is dirt poor. Go to India, go to China, go to anywhere else in the world. That's just the way it is. But see, the American opportunity was, with the blessing of God, with the Protestant work ethic, with the constitutional republic, with the free created this opportunity. So as this is deteriorating, all sorts of things are happening. For example, a bunch of research right now showing that industries, because of AI technology, we can jump to individual pricing. So how many of you go to the store and you look for the prices on things? Right? Okay, I was at the store the other day looking for something, and I was like, where's the price on this thing? Where's the price on this thing? Well, pretty soon they're going to take all the prices off. I mean, that's actually what everyone's being told they should do now. So that way, they'll actually make more money. So that way, when you walk up, they'll use AI technology, figure out how much you make. So if they charge me like $10 for it because you make twice as much as I do, they're going to charge you $20 instead. And so, this individual, I didn't make this stuff up. This is February 26th of 2018 they were talking about this. Now they have really the ability to pull this off. Or maybe you saw the Fed this week talking about giving a penalty to those of you who have good credit score. If you've got a credit score over 680, this week they were working towards implementing a special tax on you because your credit score is too high. And if you put 15 to 20% down on a house and are responsible, how many of you know you should be responsible and pay your bills and don't lie and things like that, right? That's a good thing. But if you are irresponsible, we're going to subsidize your irresponsibility. I remember sharing this with someone this week, and they're like, "Are you kidding? Why bother anymore?" And that's exactly what happens. My point is as all of this is happening, the influence of America, the economic stability that we've experienced in the past of being the reserve currency of the world is teetering on the edge of changing. And this really does fit our text, by the way. You know, the number one thing that's asked of me today is, Mark, we see economic collapse happening around us. I mean, you can't have trillions and trillions of dollars of debt. Even in my lifetime, did you know, when in the 80s, I remember Ronald Reagan talking about, we can't keep this debt increase happening. And I can't remember, it was like, I think it was $850 billion. This has got to stop. That was just not that many years ago. And people ask this question, well, what do I do? How do I prep? And I always tell them, this is the order. You got to prep for your soul for economic collapse. I mean, I've traveled around the world. I'm telling you, you got to have your soul ready more than anything else. I mean, what good does it do to have assets and security if you don't have your soul ready? Jesus said it this way, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? You should apply Proverbs. You should think about assets and how do we navigate difficult times, whether it's personal financial hardships or loss of a job, for example, on a personal level, or the industry that I'm in, or the stock market dropping and my investments being. You need to think about all of those sorts of things. People always ask about gold and silver, and you need to think about those. You just need to think about all your assets and how manage what God's given you for His glory to meet your needs and advance the gospel. And then security. And this order is really important. And what I want you to see is how important it is with the prophet as he experienced economic destruction in the nation in which he was living. I want you to see why it happened. I want you to see how he prepared. I want you to see how God showed himself strong. And what I want you to see is how he experienced God in the midst of this economic collapse, because you can experience God in whatever the economic difficulties or waves that come into place.